Okay. I do apologize for the way the last Songwriter Secret video came out, and we're going to make sure that we get everything in that we didn't get in yesterday. Had I known that it came out like that, I wouldn't have put it up, obviously. But when I upload something, I generally don't get to watch it back until later on. So again, my apologies for that. But what we wanted to look at was the false light, the symbolism by the term, or the what's meant by the term of the light that you will often hear in different records is part of the New Age symbolism that does indeed denote that the Luciferian elite are behind the music that we listen to. And when we do the Songwriter Secret, just for those who don't know what it is, it's basically when you're listening to a song, and they, especially in love songs, but when you're listening to a song and they refer to a he or a she, you know, a woman singing about a man or a man singing about a woman, that's only the exoteric meaning. The actual meaning, there's an esoteric meaning buried beneath, and we call it the Songwriter's Secret because it's the songwriter who really needs to know the secret. Sometimes new artists are given songs by songwriters, you know, of course through the directive of the record label, and you know, they game goofy. They don't really know what's going on, or at least we know that that has been the case before in the past. Now with the Illuminati on blast, it's hard to believe that a young artist comes in and hears certain terms and sees certain things going on and they don't pick up on something. That might be the reason why Blue Cantrell was running down the street like Martin, talking about they trying to kill me. And then a few days later, Simone Battle passed away. Now, it may take you some years in the business before you realize, what is this? What's really going on around me? And some people make songs about that. So we're going to look at some interesting songs. We're going to look at some Stevie. We're going to look at some Janet. We're going to look at some Karen Wheeler, even if you remember, she was the lead vocalist for Soul to Soul. And we're going to look at some Tina Marie, as well as Maze and Earth, Wind and Fire again. So what we're listening for is, and once you have ears to hear it, you hear it all the time, but what we're listening for is this veiled reference to a spirit being. They're really singing about this spirit being, and they're pining for the spirit being to come into them. And of course, you know, for those who aren't allergic to certain terminology and they aren't bound by semantics, we call them demons, because they do you bad in the end. Bad spirits, demons, jinn, it's all the same. Again, the names change, but the game is the same. So I'm going to look at a few, and again, we're focusing on, out of all of the different terminologies that are commonly used in love songs, you know, stay together forever, you know, one in particular stuck out that I just really saw the other day, and I said, well, this is something to highlight. So I usually freestyle the Songwriter Secret lessons, but I wrote this one down. And it is the light, or the love light, as is often said. And again, we know that they can get away with using the word love, which will throw you off at first if you're like me, because when I first began hearing it, for instance, in It Seems to Hang On by Ashford and Simpson, I didn't pick up on the throw-off line. There's a line always thrown in to throw you off, like when Luther says, girl. Okay. So the throw-off line was, is it love? At the end of It Seems to Hang On. Masterfully written with the Songwriter's Secret, or the witch language, if you want to say that something dastardly can be masterfully written, I should have said. But so we're going to look at Stevie Wonder, Love, Light, and Flight. And get the example going, and then I'm sure you may be able to think of some on your own. Make me feel like paradise, the first lyrics. Take me to the highest heights, take me up and away. Now you'll find that's a common theme as well. And, you know, it makes your head swell. Songwriters are masters at playing off the ego, because some woman hears that and believes that Steve's talking about her. You'll find the spiritual or scriptural references to make you feel like paradise. Or in you dropped the bomb on me, just like Adam and Eve. You said you set me free. Okay? So you'll find these references. Even in What a Fool Believes. No wise man has the power to reason away. We're going to go back to What a Fool Believes. But you'll hear these references. And what's the name of the song? Love, Light, and Flight. Fuel, Injected Passion. Love, Light, and Flight. Make me feel like paradise. Take me up and away. Okay, so you'll hear a similar thing in Prince, Private Joy, which we make the mistake of thinking, oh, he's talking about a woman. Then they go another layer deep, just like with Mary Jane and Rick James. They go another layer deep, and you say, well, is it about a woman, or is he referring to drugs when he says, shoot me up, baby? And that little rumor had came out, and that helped to cover the real meaning. No, he's saying the same thing that Stevie is saying in Love, Light, and Flight. You need this spirit to take you up and away. Silver Shadow, Atlantic Star. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'll know when you listen to it, because somebody gonna tear the comment section up. You got to hear Silver Shadow by Atlantic Star, because it's spelled out. She spells it out very plainly. They believe that this silver shadow, or this shining angel, Lucifer and his angels disguise themselves as beings of light, will take them up to the highest heights. You are my starship. Won't you take me up tonight? Again, they get busy in the nighttime doing their rituals and whatnot. So you'll find that reference to the night in several examples, and we're even going to see one in Mike. Yeah, Michael Jackson fans, stick around for a minute. And we're going to look at that as well. But I'm going to go down the list, because I know when we do this, I jump around, usually because I'm not doing this off of paper. I do this off memory, which is why I've not done one on gospel, because I don't have that many gospel songs committed to my memory. Years and years of listening to a thing, listening to hip-hop and R&B and funk for years. I'm sure I was listening to it when I was 1, so for 40 years, you tend to develop that type of ear, or those type of ears. And I don't know gospel as well, so I wouldn't be qualified to do one on gospel. But what I can tell you is what I always tell people when they ask me about gospel, classical, or jazz. It's Lucifer's business. It don't matter what style of music it is. Instrumentals fall into play. Kool and the Gang, Summer Madness. Sometimes it is as opposed to a song designed to give reverence to Lucifer directly. Okay, sometimes it's a lamentation where he'll take your pain. He loves your pain. How can I ease the pain? Okay, in and out, out and in you go. How she says, on her knees she prayed for the strength to stay away. Okay, so he'll take the pain too. But in instrumentals, they affect the brain too. It's about frequencies and vibrations, opening up the mind. And only the most masterful musicians are able to call the spirits to do this, but to open up the mind in such a way, open-minded, to drop a spirit in, with Lucifer behind it. Have mercy. And Summer Madness, on the flip side of that record, was Winter Sadness. You hear that high-pitched, or that, I believe it was a Nord lead, but that very high-frequency part of Summer Madness, it's the famous part, where they keep going, which is similar to what you hear in the theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey. So again, and the classical guys, they were masters because they knew how to put together certain chords using the devil's chord, which was banned by the church, I believe in the 1500s. But they know how to put together certain chord progressions, certain note combinations that will tweak the mind, opening up a portal. Bob James, also a master of that. That's what's happening when you listen to Nautilus. Nautilus is a bad tune, one of the most sampled songs in hip-hop, incidentally, but let's continue along the line of light. All right, but yes, gospel, I'm not qualified to do that, but are they making direct reference to the Messiah, or is there an ambiguity? The old school gospel folks would say their problem with the new school, or with the crossing over into secular, was the ambiguity, was the fact that it could be looked at two different ways. That's the essence of the Songwriter Secret, and the essence of Project Janus, the duality, and the problem, reaction, solution, or thesis, antithesis, synthesis, synthetic music, synthesizer. They begin to just blend it all together, and then it's no longer pure. But they need to be making it very clear who they're worshiping and honoring with their music. You can't simply use a reference term like God. I mean, in an hour-long video, we can use a number of terms. We all on the same page. We're not trapped and bound by the box of books or by semantics, and we overstand each other. What's understood ain't got to be explained. But in a 4-minute song, 3-minute song that gets repeated all day long, you need to be clear. Okay, Lucifer is also called the God of this age. So you have to know what God is it in you, what God is in me, according, as the lyrics go. But and then, to just simply say the King. Some people call Elvis the King. Some call Michael the King. Have mercy. So the vagueness, the ambiguity, that is where you find the issues in gospel, which should be straight praise. I don't care what form of music it is. It could be any style of instrumentation, even hip-hop, funk. However, although I don't really believe that you should take knee deep and turn it into as we look at the meaning of knee deep also today, and turn it into something that play in the bars and people would be grinding to, okay, doing the freak dance and whatnot. And I know that has happened. I've had a report of that. So that is all I would have to add to the conversation about gospel. And just listen to the lyrics. Listen, test the spirit by the Holy Spirit, and you will know what spirit it is. Every spirit that does not confess. All right, you know the rest. So we look at love, light, and flight, and we see this term about this light, this false light. But we're going to see this over and over again as we look down the list. Let's look at yes, you need to look at Atlantic Star, Silver Shadow. Again, silver shines. It's about this shining light. All right, and generally when you find one example of these coded references to the occult and to the worship of Lucifer, because that is his religion, you'll find that a person don't just generally do one song with it in there. That's not how the game go. So you see, Touch a Four-Leaf Clover. Like the song, it was, I have every song on here on a playlist. Okay, it's called my sold soul jams list. And when I first had pulled the songs on, well, some of them anyway, it was the songs I wanted to hear, and I wanted to see if I heard the secret in there. And Touch a Four-Leaf Clover, again, we have to come out of the shallow thinking, just thinking on the surface level. I was thinking on the surface level. So, she's talking about a guy getting lucky, if he gets her. It's endorsing superstition and occultism to find love. Many of you know about love spells. I've heard so many tales of things that people will do, like putting things in your stew or in your spaghetti, or taking the underwear and burying it. I did read something like that in the witchcraft books, but it didn't have to be underwear. But I know that people do that type of thing. It really happens. But that is the endorsement of superstition. Okay, and again, the serpent was more subtle than any of the other beasts of the field. So it's the subtlety that lies beneath. But trust me, we're going to see some really good examples, because I figured that maybe what happened with the other video, because I didn't go hard enough. So we're going to go hard and go home. Have mercy. So of course, you might get lucky, you just might get me. And to catch me is to catch a leprechaun. Okay, but again, I didn't see it until I began to look for other songs by the same group, looking for more blatant evidence of the songwriter's secret, like you find in Atlantic Star, Silver Shadow. Listen to it, please. All right. So all of that goes hand in hand with Earth, Wind, and Fire, who have a lot of, who doesn't like the sound of the music? But they have a lot of examples that we can cite, because they were obviously into the New Age deception noir, which is the one aimed at black folks, to get you caught up into having faith in what scholars and academics tell you about Egypt, and about really about your history concerning Egypt. And they play off of pride. You ever have somebody compliment you, flatter you, just to get on your good side? It's a more heinous and deeper form of that. But it's Lucifer worshippers, without a doubt. You ever heard of the Temple of Set? And they're the ones who put the information out. You ain't never been to Egypt. Can you read hieroglyphics? Who told you? Who told you anything that you know concerning the subject of Kemet? You ain't never been there. You might not have been out the state. But you believe exactly what you're told by scholars and academics who themselves don't believe. So they have an agenda to religiously push their non-belief onto you. And where does that come from? And then you're steered away from what will really help you out once you start playing and toying and dabbling in those things, and then you end up with a spirit or a demon in your den. Have mercy. Or worse, one within. And I know what I'm talking about. You can't point out nothing for me to read, because I have read and taught those things religiously to people. All right? And I looked at Earth, Wind, and Fire. And let me show you how game goofy you are. like I was. I looked at Earth, Wind, and Fire and I said, wow, all these groups out here singing to the devil, and how can Earth, Wind, and Fire make such positive, good music and talk about our history? They the only ones. They the only ones Lucifer leave alone and just let them do free reign. Let them have free reign. They can say what they want to say, but they're going against all the evil ones. The one group, the Most High has blessed them to do so. Philip Bailey ended up gay. You ever seen, I'm not, Maurice White's first group was called the Pharaohs. So he has been into that deception for a long time, but it is a deception. And you'll only know it's a deception when you get deeper in it. Quit being on the surface. You playing games with it. Really get into it. I'm gonna tell you a book, The Metu Neter. You need that. Non-believers, you need that, because you need the same experience that I had. You need to be left out there bad with a spirit being that you've called up and conjured, fooling on you. And then you need this advice, because I'm going to be nice. You need to call it out in the name of Jesus Christ. In the authority of the name of Jesus Christ, you bind it up. And again, in a Luciferian society, everything that they write and tell you about their enemy is going to be to make you believe their enemy is unreal, is untrue. How game goofy of you. So you mean to tell me, Judge Joe Brown, that they left the truth, the truth, in books, and all you have to do is read some books to know it. Salvation by way of knowledge. And this is what Earth, Wind, and Fire is all about. Salvation by way of knowledge. When we look at the song Fantasy, we see that. Bring your mind to everlasting liberty. We see one world imagery. Victory in the land called fantasy. And what you don't overstand with your game goofy self is they're also dealing with the Manly P. Hall and Albert Pike and Aleister Crowley endorsed belief of a new Atlantis, which you believe in too, because you think that what you're reading in the New Age noir is the truth. But guess what you need to do? You need to go across the other side of the tracks and see what's happening in New Age Blanc. The same things. They reflect each other because they all come from the same kings, the Psalms 2 and 2 kings of this earth, who conspired together against the Lord and against his anointed and against the poor. See, it's a way you can get po folks by feeding into their ego, folks that don't feel good about themselves, or they have a low sense of self-esteem. So you can sell them a dream. And the song Fantasy is all about selling a dream. This dreamy imagery, riding through the ocean of thoughts and dreams, the dramatics. But life is a fantasy, dream programming. Okay, the love and light. Again, you find that in the song Fantasy, and all of that points back to the New Atlantis theory or the Aquarian Age. New Age philosophy that Earth, Wind, and Fire embraced and embodied every album cover. And to show you their mastery of instrumentation, going back to how it's beyond simply in the lyrics, it's in the way that the musicians come together and they play their instruments together in order to, just like drawing a pentagram on the floor or a hexagram on the floor and encircling it, they are creating a gateway with sound. Okay? They are smiths of the air, hence the name of the group, Aerosmith, like a goldsmith or an ironsmith shapes iron or gold. So they are all arrow smiths, using arrow aeromancy or aero magic, air magic. Let's continue. The greatest example we find of this false light, because you're not a star. You don't shine. You can't put on enough Vaseline or shea butter to shine. Your head don't even shine like mine. All these things that you told, you can't prove. And then you have to, I bust it up and knock it out like Tyson did in the heavyweight bout. And I ain't talking about with Holyfield or Buster Douglas. I'm talking about vintage Iron Mike. Because I asked you the simple question. How do you know? And you got to tell me. Somebody told me or I read it in. That's why y'all trying to advise me to read a book. I'm gonna drop my biography. I got it. I got it listed. It'll crack yours in the head. It's not a lot about these subjects that I did not read and have not read. But again, the only way you know if what you think or believe is true is if you experience it and you can say it happened to you. And I can say that it did indeed happen to me, that I got in touch with Tahuti. And Tahuti, or Thoth as he was called, also the Jedi, got a hold of me. And that's when I began breaking down words on this level. Again, you have to be able to vibrate a certain way in order to be used by the devil. So I was already, I guess, gifted at writing and things of that nature, but he began to show me another level of that. But guess what? After I got delivered from that, the Holy Spirit blew that out the water. The level, the ability that the Lord gave me to be able to break down words far exceeds what it did when I was filled with that demon spirit, which will give you some degree of knowledge. They use and abuse you till they leave. You fall deeper in the style. It's hard to breathe. Believe it. And once they've had enough of you and used you up or damaged the car, like New Jersey Drive, they crash it and find another one to get inside. Let's continue. Shining star, shine your light to see what your life can truly be. Shine your light so you can see what your life can truly be. Now, again, it's this allegorical, poetic side of us that attracts to those things, when it's nonsense. Looking at the Songwriter secret really made me have to look at poetry again another way. I've always been a fan of poetry, but I had to begin to look at how poetry is used to keep some people confused. If it sounds good, you go for it. If it look good, you go for it. Okay? It sounds good to you. It pleases you. It flatters you. It feeds your ego. Or if it look good to you, you think, Grandma said everything look good ain't good, boy. So we know the music sounds good. Okay, the album covers. Oh, to see that magnificence, that former vainglorious society, vain glory. You do something in vain, that means you did it for nothing. The glory was for nothing, because you won't return to it. You can't read the hieroglyphs, and the people who can is not going to tell you what it really say. Please believe it. Let's continue. Yeah, that's right. Somebody's festering, seething with anger. You'll be all right. Okay. Then, of course, you have Parliament Funkadelic, which was my, P-Funk fan. Found out they record a lot of that stuff here in Detroit, Michigan, and it just further bound me to being a fanatic. Fan is short for fanatic. Then, of course, there's another. We're gonna stop there, but groupies are fans, and fans do something that groupies do. Okay. Flashlight. Everybody's got a little light. The way the song ends, everybody knows. And it would seem weird to you first time you heard it. All the music drop out, all that funky, crazy, chaotic, beautifully chaotic, organized chaos. Music ends, and then they bust out in harmony. Everybody's got a little light under the sun, under the sun. Of course, you're going to see this constant theme of sun worship and this false light. You think it's real. Sade know better than you. Sade said, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. Soldier of love. Still looking for the light. The endless pool on the other side. She been closer than you ever gonna get. And she said that it's some bullshit. And so did Janet. We're gonna look at Janet too. We're gonna see. Okay. We're going to see. And again, we don't demonize these individuals, man. What would you do? What would you have done if you got into a thing you thought was a business? It's really not a business. It is a mind control program, all right, that takes advantage of people with talents and uses them for behavior modification exercises on the public and abuses them at the same time. So what would you have done if you got a deal and all you really wanted to do was get that dollar bill off your skill, get paid off what you made, and then you find out that all this other foolishness is going on around you? What would you do? What would you do? So somebody should pray for them. But again, you know, pride, ego, lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, pride of life can keep you deep within your sin. Have mercy. But you don't want to leave. Some of them, they just get used to the things that they have to do. That's why you see that crazed look in a lot of their eyes when they're looking into the camera trying to smile and look like good girls and good guys. Because their mind is blown. They've really been split into the Project Janus thing. What Project Janus is really all about trying to do is another you inside of you. And they're trying to make you believe that, like Tina Marie said in Behind the Groove, but they create two personalities or more in some cases, and this creates a divided soul, like the name of Marvin Gaye's autobiography, semi-autobiography. He wrote it with David Ritz, and we're going to look at Marvin as well too. So let's move on. Let me go down the list. So but yes, that's the goal. They create a DID, dissociative identity disorder, in the artists themselves, and we're going to show and prove that also as we look at Vesta Williams, who made it very clear that was what was going on. All right, let's move down. One more by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Thanks, Precious, for providing this one, which had totally slipped by me. And the music is so happy and uplifting. September. Do you remember the 21st of September? Now, I happen to only really look at the fact that that was a cusp, which is the time between one astrological sign and another astrological sign, and cusps are very important to the elite because, again, the temple of Set, the different brotherhoods, they are into Egyptian magic and they are into astrology, and they believe that certain days are more potent than others, and they do their rituals on those days. And the 21st is a time for harvest rituals. It is the autumnal equinox called Mabon, a night of sacrifice. Okay, there's another song where they talk about the day. What is the name of that song? You Can't Hide Love? Is that it? Looking back, it'll come to me. I thought they were saying, looking back, we've touched all saw for days. What it says, when you look up the lyrics, last time I looked it up, it said, looking back, we've touched on sorrowful days. But because when I was heavily into Kemet, and I revered them because they were also, I thought they were saying, looking back, we've touched all sorrow for days, because you do touch and get in touch with these deities. Aleister Crowley did. Okay? And in the very beginning, they'll kid and try to keep their true self hid. Then, because they come to you in the guise of ancestors, or they make you believe that they're going to give you some kind of power, they need you for power. Alright? I've had more than my share of experiences with the spirit beings, and they need you to fear them. They need you to give them some kind of emotion. And I, by the will of the Almighty, get instructed and have been instructed on how to turn it all off and don't feed them nothing. And all they can do is get frustrated and angry and make very vicious and grim faces. But they need you to fear them. So how you gonna get some power from them? You got to give up your power to them. Let's continue. All right. Also, fantasy, endorsing UFOs, the New Agey dreaming, the eternal life theory, which of course the Egyptians believed in, and some of them is trapped behind glass at a museum. Have mercy. And all of the stuff that they accumulated and thought they was going to take with them, that's what it was. They lied to you about the reason why sarcophagus and their tombs would be filled with so much foolishness. They thought these things was going with them. Even a bum know you can't take it with you. Have mercy. Take a ride in the sky on a ship and decide. You go ahead. All right. Let's look at golden time of day. Again, maize with the multi-fingered hand for their symbol, again representing Nephilim, and the union between fallen and man, because it's these spirits that represent the light, the false light that you hear them talk about lots of times. And what got you believing you get your shine on, get your shine on. Okay? Shine, children, shine. The golden time of day. We just talked about there's certain times of days where rituals are done. Sometimes it's night. But he says there's a time of the day when the sun's going down. Okay? So again, it's nighttime coming. And this is something I even read in the demonology books. There's certain times of days that you are supposed to, well, that you get a better result from doing the working. Crowley knew this too. Alright? And when Crowley met Heru, he told him who he really was. He gonna lie to you because you game goofy. And he'll feed into that. He'll feed into the fact that you need to believe you got some kind of superpower from outer space. The mothership comes, it's going to be gang goofy goobers lined up from 7 Mile to Warren Ave. Believe it. With their Ankh song talking about, ooh, make sure you save me a seat, Nene. Let's continue. The astrotheology of it all, the golden time of day. If you believe in love, shine. Children, shine. Again, Frankie Beverly and Mays was said to be discovered by Marvin Gaye. He even said that in the Divided Soul book. And Marvin was, for a time, although he never totally lost his mind, he was for a time in that bind and bound to the New Age stuff that he had found all around. He was very big in the music business. You find it on a lot of Stevie albums. But you'll find, too, that people who were raised up in great faith, like it says, raise up a child in the way it shall go, they shall not depart, they tend to go back to that faith, even when they get to the deepest depths of New Age. And New Age sounds so good. You know, Shaka say, I can cast a spell, secrets you can't tell. Mix a special brew, put fire inside of you. Okay? She was off into the New Agey thing. She has a song, I believe, on that same album called Egyptian Song. Well, that was on the Rufus and Shaka album. But anyway, on the one where she's real tall and they're real small on that album. I remember that. I think it's a light blue album. But anyway, my point is, it was very common at that time to have these Aquarian age beliefs. What was the song? The Age of Aquarius. By who? The fifth dimension. People talk about the fifth dimension as being a hellish realm. Some would say, but you know, how would you know you on the fifth dimension though? But there have been reports of people when they take salvia and different things. I have had this reported to me. Okay, and before I knew better, I had tried salvia one time. Listening to some of my New Age noir studying friends. And, this was years back. I took salvia. Maybe it was 09 or 2010. I tried it. I think it was 2010. And, thank God I didn't go where I heard other people had been. I heard that tale later. Later, I was talking to a Native American sister who worked with me, and we was there on the job, passing time, and we got to talking about different New Agey things. And so I passed a piece of paper to her with the word salvia on it. I said, you ever heard of that? And she said, well, yes, me and my friends, we used to, we was doing the wrong thing. We used to drink wine and take it and just see what kind of things came to our mind. And one of my friends, she was in a bad place. You know, she really shouldn't have done it at all. You know, we stopped altogether after this, but one of my friends, she started really freaking out. And she went to a place where she said she saw the reptilian race. And they began to see that she saw them, and they approached her and committed a rape. So that's what that New Age is all about. Jamming you up and getting you to a new dimension, to another place where these beings can take advantage of you. Okay? Or getting you to open up portals so they can come on in. And that's what it's really about. And they'll use the term love and love light and you shining and all of those type of stuff to play on your ego, to make you believe that by your beauty or by your knowledge, just like Lucifer, you will become God. Okay? And of course, the throw off line in golden time of day. If you believe in love. Okay, again, and up above, I mean, they worshiping the star, shining, silver shadow, shining star. But the love, you turn the word love backward, because again, that is only the word that we use in this bastard language. Okay, you have ahava in Hebrew and agape in Greek. You have words that whose meanings cannot be misconstrued. Love, you can love food. Be on a seafood diet. Eat every time you see food. Love, you can love a TV show. Okay? You can love your car. Okay? You can love your morning coffee. You can love a certain actor that you never met and who wouldn't take a whiz on you to put you out if you was on fire. So, this word love, if you remember Kara's one, love's gonna get you, you got to turn it around. Like some of the words in the spell trick. Okay, you got to turn it around, see what's really going down. They even played with your mind with the Ron Paul campaign, doing that. Okay, with the word evolution. Okay, and with the it was a advertisement for a cell phone called the evoL, and they threw an L at the end, Lucian. And it showed you it was love and evil at the same time. Doing what to your mind? Creating that DID. Okay? Doing that Project Janice thing to you. It's only one you. Okay? That you on Facebook, that ain't you. It's only one you. Alright, let's continue. I told y'all who I was before. I ain't gonna do it again. Let's continue. You know if you my friend. Behind the Groove. Interesting. She sings partly, I found, and it's Tina Marie, Behind the Groove. I believe it was her first song that was not produced by Rick James, who was her handler. And there was a lot of pimping and whoring going on, not just in Motown. There have been books written about that, and I've spoken about that on several other videos. But oftentimes you'll find that the managers was the pimps and the artists were the whores, or you will find a male-female dynamic in which the male is acting as the mind controller or the pimp. Macking and pimping is nothing but mind control, taking advantage of the minds of others to control them. Let's continue. So Behind the Groove, there's an eerie groove. And her career was going up. They was taking her up, shooting her up. She was on the move. Okay? And, again, when they shoot you up and take you up to these highest heights, it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet love. Because as you get more, you lose more. They take more from you while they give you more. They take more of what is really valuable from you, while they give you more valueless, priceless, material possessions. You end up possessed. But she's in the deception. You shall not surely die. You can last forever and a day. The lie. The you will not surely die lie. Okay? They say only two things for sure is death and taxes. And if you know your law, well, let's continue. You can last forever and a day. And she sings partly as the spirit at the end, but the killing part, as they say, was this lyric. There's another side inside of you, behind the groove. I like that song. I thought it was a cold piece. And again, these are songs that I know they sound good. I know it sound good. Good instrumentation. Okay? Someone who can not just hold a note, but know how to freak it. They can sing. They can put their foot in it. I know. But Lucifer wants the very best. He wants the people who are most gifted, that have been given that gift and talent by the Almighty, and who, instead of giving it back to the Almighty, will sell it. Okay, and you know, we live in a world, in a society that does not make music too sacred to sell, when we know that the original use for music was praise. Lucifer was that angel in charge of that, the praise. So you're supposed to give it back. You give that gift back to the one that gave it to you. That's how it's supposed to go, but that ain't what people want to do. They're shown this star culture, a culture of celebrity, a cult of celebrity, cult culture, Lisa and Cult Jam. Again, the duality of the names. We talked about that before, but we are bombarded with this cult of celebrity that makes children no longer aspire to be firemen. Or, you know, I remember growing up, some kids would say they wanted to be police when they grew up. Now everybody wants to be some kind of star. All right, let's move forward. And again, that's part of this mind control, because how many people are going to go out there to Hollywood, like Shaka sang about, and be out there bad? So lots of songs about Hollywood, okay, and California that that describe the La La Land mentality that, you know, a lot of people go out there with, and they end up on the park bench or having to do something strange for some change. Okay, shooting for the stars. You can't touch them. You can't touch that. Believe me, you ain't tall enough. Your arm's too short to box with God. Let's move forward. Feel the need. Okay, and then we're gonna look at some more light. Don't worry. I'm trying to go down the list so I don't miss nothing that should not be missed. Okay, Feel the Need by Anita Baker. Excellent music. I think it was one of her best produced songs. She had a certain sound when she was with Chapter 8 that, you know, I thought sounded great. And to me, it was more of a throwback to those days. So Feel the Need, the last verse, because it was one I was listening to, and I thought, well, I must have missed it in this one. I don't see it. I don't hear it. But the last verse does it for me. She wants to be sure that she's doing the right thing. Again, he'll take your lamentation. He loves your ambiguity. He'll take your unsureness. You know, should I go in? Should I not? I'm going to show you how Janet felt about it in a minute. So it's the verse that starts around 3 minutes and 21 seconds in. She says, everybody's saying I got to be a fool. She said, I got to be crazy for loving you. I'm starting to wonder if there is truth in what they say. She said, my mind says to leave you one side, but my heart says I better stay another side. Bam. Split into Project Janus, the twin demon, the double-headed demon deity. She says, I wanna feel like I'm something more than a passing thought from you. And we know the demon spirits operate. They can shoot thoughts straight into your skull. And so we've also found many a testimony that they are able to read minds. And when magicians or illusionists are doing those types of tricks, they are indeed hearing from demon spirits who are able to read minds. But she said, I need to know if the things you say are true. That was the last line. And for me, that really sunk it in. Then, of course, she goes into a throw-off line. Okay, a throw-off line, another throw-off line is like in when Joyce Sims sings, come into my life, I got so much love to show you. When she said, boy, I adore you. She said, oh, well, she's talking about a guy. You need to see the video. Look at the imagery in the video. But that's the throw-off line. Okay, so always a throw-off line. Like when Luther say, "Girl," you know he ain't talking about no girl. It's always a throw-off line. Like when Ashford and Simpson say, "Is it love?" At the end of, it seems to hang on. Okay. All right, so we got everything on that side. Yep. Okay, let's move to the top of the page. You know what Burn Rubber says? Burn Rubber by the Gap Band. Burn rubber on me, Charlie. Okay. He says in the lyrics, plain as day, but you be going off the groove because the groove make you move. That burn rubber, that's a tough groove. Okay, that masters, Lucifer wants the best. That masters at making you move so that you're not paying attention to what's sinking into your melon. Ain't no telling. Charlie Wilson say, he said, a girl, he said, you told me to go up the block, get you a strawberry rock. When I got back to the shack, you had burned rubber after that. So he came back with the rock of crack that she required in order to have sex, because that is what a strawberry is, according to Dope Man by NWA. Well, Ice Cube makes it very plain, the definition of strawberry, because that wasn't something in Detroit that we say. Okay, at the time. But, again, just notice how that little example there, how it totally flew over your mind. You've heard Burn Rubber a number of times, I'm sure. Let's move forward. Now, there was some goody songs. Some songs that did not reek with the songwriter's secret, let's say that. And Marvin Gaye has quite a few, especially on his latter work and things that weren't very well promoted, such as the album In Our Lifetime. You've got to check out, I told you before, Life is for Learning. He explains it. He explains what's going on in the business. I mean, not in no code. He flat out explains it. And what's going on? That's an album, free from guile. And guess what? Berry Gordy didn't like that style. Berry Gordy almost pulled the album. That's right. Because, you know, he must have knew or felt like he knew that A, they was going to get in trouble, or B, he thought spirits ain't going to come for this. Spirits not going to attach, I said it right the first time, attach and attack to the people. Because when they're taken to the temple room, as John Todd called it, and as proof described, when they go into this room, they told by this priest figure that if they call up these spirits to attach to the master tape, all of the slaves that are made off the master tape, that's what they call the dubs, what they dub double. Okay, Project Janus. But the copies that are made from off of the original are called slaves, and the original is called a master. But they are told that the spirits attach to the original, and then in the curse that they say, or they'll say the prayer that they pray, the spirits will attach to each copy, and then when the copy is played, the spirits will release and attach to the people in the room, or the person that's playing it. And they're not told because this is going to drive them crazy and make them kill their families, as has happened. And that's what Lucifer always wants to happen. But it's by the grace of God, it does not always happen. But what the artist is told to make them go along with it is, this attracts people to the music. It makes them love it more, and they'll buy more of your stuff. Doing this technique causes your album sales to go up 80%. This is what they was told. And they were told, and such does it, and such does it, and such did it on our label, and we know their sales skyrocketed. So the artist is encouraged to do this because they're told this is going to bring in more money, get you more fans, okay, more fortune and fame, and that's the name of the game, right? So some people get blackballed, or they get tormented because they're not down with certain things. Marvin was like that. Marvin had famous battles with his bosses, aka his handlers. And you can read more about that in the book Divided Soul. It was an excellent book. I learned so much about who he was. Even learned a couple of things I did not want to know. Okay, I've said that before. But another artist is Gil Scott-Heron. He's famously been called one of the most blackballed artists of all time. He sings a lot of politically aware songs, okay? So does Eugene McDaniels of the Headless Heroes of the Apocalypse. That's a hard title, ain't it? But that album called Headless Heroes, I believe it was called, that album is cold-blooded and full of, again, socio-political positive messages. Okay, there's one song in particular of his called Headless Heroes that really goes along with what we like to say here on the channel about the chessboard game that they play, the divide and conquer game, and that is called Headless Heroes. I would love to just play some music for you guys, but I'm a two-time loser. Okay, I'm a double offender, and so one more strike and I'm out. So I don't want to risk that. I see people do it all the time. You know, people put songs on here, DJs do mixes, but when I'm telling you about this, there's a lot of powers that don't want this out there. And I know, because when I got one of them strikes, you know, they show you who it is that made a complaint. And the song Come Into My Life by Joyce Sims is owned by a company called Demon Music. Can't make it up. I did some research and found out that they're owned by the BBC. Yes, in Britain. So let's look again at the Songwriter Secret. It's old school now, but it's still, you know, old school to me is 70s, 80s music. But Maxwell, Ascension, because you still hear it on the radio. The groove is tough. I like the beat. I thought Maxwell had excellent music, and out of all of the artists of today, or of the recent generations who made R&B, him, D'Angelo, I thought they was the freshest. Then I began to hear the Songwriter Secret. Okay, the Pretty Wings began to have another definition. It went right there with Anita Baker's Angel and Angela Winbush of Renee and Angela's Angel, and Keisha Cole's Sent from Heaven. Again, they'll take a beautiful form. Alright? So the Pretty Wings, talking about Lucifer's wings. But now, yeah, that's right, ladies. Ain't talking about you. Half these dudes don't like women. Have mercy. And the other half wouldn't like them like that. Get all poetic with you and all that. That's how the game is played. It plays off of your ego. Let's continue. That's right. Yep, and pride. Maxwell Ascension. Simple lyric, and then we're going to move on to the next song. One lyric. Shouldn't I realize you're the highest of the high? It happened the moment that you were revealed. You were a dream that should not have been, a fantasy real. I thought I had to look it up. It just came out. That show you how, honestly, That show you how lyrics touch you and stay with you. I had no idea. I remembered that until just now. I was about to look it up. But we're going to look up Janet Jackson, Pleasure Principle. We already did Behind the Groove. There's Another Side Inside of You. Oh, she also makes the reference to Xanadu, which is a character from Marvel Comics who read the tarot. That was her power. She used Egyptian magic. And that was to help reinforce the lie that you get some kind of power through it. Okay, and obviously Tina was into that lie too. The first lines in Behind the Groove is, "Hey baby, let me take you to Xanadu." There we go. Alright, let's look at Pleasure Principle. This is going to be fun. Maybe because, like I said, when I used to look in Jet magazine and they show you who was born on your birthday, only person I'd ever see that, would impress me at all was Janet Jackson. But who's the rest of these characters? But maybe we have that in common, or had that in common, because when she showed up on, I think it was on Piers Morgan, she had that Skull and Bones ring on. I said, well, the days of Pleasure Principle been gone. But Pleasure Principle is one of those songs, and there's been a few where what it seems like they're trying to do is express their dissatisfaction with the crew. Rocket Love is like that too. Sent me right on the on your rocket, gave me a star about a half a mile from heaven. You dropped me back down to this cold, cold world. I wouldn't do that to a dog, Stevie say. But check out hers. Check this out. She say, "You might think I'm crazy, but I'm serious." Now, the way she's singing the lyrics, it's hard for you to follow. And the groove is moving, it's going. And if you're watching the video, you're going to be distracted. So, they did a great job. Whoever wrote this, and I believe that it was one of the members of the Time who produced it. But whoever wrote it and designed the song did a great job in slipping these right by you. And I believe that there may have been a different reason why this slips by you. But notice her reference to the light as well. She say, "You might think I'm crazy, but I'm serious." She's talking to Lucifer. "It's better you know now. What I thought was happiness was only part-time bliss. You can take a bow. It was all just one big night out on the town, riding in your limousine. You turned right and I said wrong, which brings us to a stop as the light is changing." She's starting to see that light is not what you think it is. Let me show you another example like that. Your head hard as a hickory nut. Living in the Light, Karen Wheeler. Yeah, you want to hear another verse from this? She said, "Oh, my meter's running, so I got to go now. It's the Pleasure Principle. Oh." Okay, next verse. "It's true you want to build your life on guarantees, contracts. Hey, take a ride in a big yellow taxi. I'm not here to feed your insecurities." Lucifer's awful insecure. That's why he plays off of your insecurities, making you think you're a star. She said, "I wanted you to love me." Because see, they told, it's not Lucifer. They told this spirit, this is your angel spirit. This is, you follow me. She said, "This is becoming all too familiar scene. It's not the first time I paid the fare." Remember, she was penny on good times. She's been riding in limousines for a long time. So this ain't about no dude trying to wine her and dine her. This is a Jackson. Have mercy. Where'd you get the idea of material possession? Where'd you get the idea of material possession? Thank you for the ride. Nowhere. Hey, I didn't write the song. I just told you what it's saying. Okay. Again, the light is false. Karen Wheeler, Living in the Light. Children, former lead singer of Soul to Soul. Beautiful voice. Good intention in the song. She is talking about how sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do just to get along. And you gotta live in this false light. You would think living in the light, the way you game goofy goobers with the New Age noir deception think, you would think living in the light would paint the light in a positive light. Wouldn't you? Check out the way she words it. Living in the light. Karen Wheeler. Have to survive living in the light. Check it out. Children of nature, she said. Children of nature from another culture had to survive living in the light, she said. Stolen from the center of the world, untimely departure. Somehow survived living in the light. She knew of this light, and she knew it was false. Michael Jackson said, when he was still in his deception, when he was young, and they did blame it on the boogie, which is short for Boogie Man. Like nowadays they call it Rain Man. Back in the days they called it Boogie Man. They shortened it. Boogie Man used to spook the kids. Y'all don't say that no more, I know. But when we was growing up, people say, don't go into the boogeyman in there. Or something like that to keep you from going in there. So, boogie, blame it on the boogie. It's about the spirit. Listen to the lyrics and tell me, don't you hear it? It's about that spirit. This demon. Okay? Who is either Lucifer himself or a representative, depending on the connotation in the song. But it's always that. That's the songwriter's secret. MJ said in that song, he said, he says, the nasty boogies got me. He said, the devil's gotten to me to do this dance. And he says, I seen the light, believe me. And the way he says that, in all of the lyrics in the songs, in this particular song, it's hard to discern exactly what's being said. Okay, but if you're good, you'll catch it. If not, look it up, pull it up. But the way he says, I seen the light, believe me, he says it with a type of passion and arrogance that he really have seen this spirit being, that some of y'all is just singing like a mug to come to you and it won't come. Baby, come to me. They be wanting it to come to them. And some of them, when they get it, like Lisa Fisher, they want it to go on ahead. And like Vesta Williams. Vesta Williams peep game too. See, some of them not all game goof. Let's see. In the song Once Bitten, which is a lamentation, without a doubt, and a funny title for a love song. Once bitten, twice shy. And here again is another reference to this eye, to this winking eye, or that one eye thing that they often will do to represent the all-seeing eye. There's also a reference in human nature. We're not going to forget human nature, I hope. But she says, keep one eye open for the bad guy. That winking sign that they do one to another to let it be known that they down with the program. The mind control program that does indeed create duality within the individual. Hence the title of Marvin Gaye's biographical book, Divided Soul. Dividing you, splitting you into Facebook, Project Janice. making another face, a duality, another you. Tina Marie saying, there's another side inside of you. Okay, the double name thing, Duran Duran, Lisa and Cult Jam, Tony. We've gone down through those. But Vesta is really going in on this here. Who wrote it? Don't know. But check out what it says. The first line in the song is, your name is Dracula. Like, what the heck? You suck the life right out of me with a thing called reality, messing with your reality. MK Ultra again. There's banana symbolism in her video on a picture behind her. I believe that she's coming out of the doctor's office. And when I say doctor, I'm talking about a psych doctor. Because she says, there's no shame in losing control. I'm cracking up. That's what the doctors keep telling me. And I keep screaming. Once bitten, twice shy. Keep one eye open for the bad guy. You open that eye, you do that symbol for Lucifer, who is the bad guy. Okay? Now, Alicia Myers didn't appear to be with it. Maybe that's why she got replaced by Anita in chapter 7. Anita is still in the mix. Okay? And Alicia Myers did another song I got to give a thumbs up to, I Want to Thank You, which is not considered a gospel song. But I found that song to be curious. Okay? And it showed me that the Creator does indeed endorse creativity. Praise Him some kind of way. Praise Him for the man that you found. Okay? But praise Him. That's what music is for. So I got to give that, I Want to Thank You, a thumbs up for that reason. Same reason we gave Marvin, thumbs up. Gil Scott and Eugene McDaniels, thumbs up. Okay? I like some Georgia Ann Muldrow, except she does it make no bones about it in a couple of songs. She has a song called Kali Yuga. But she shows and proves that she has studied the New Age, which is just a cute way to say the occult. But she has some songs that you can't deny is positive. But again, what's the test? How do you test the spirit? Okay? It must be able to confess. Now, let's look at Golden Lady. Oh, and of course, Vesta ends with the end of the song. You took my love and made me crazy. Now everything's so hazy. And of course, she dies an untimely death. Thanks to the chief of the industry, to whom she directed that last line, who took her love and made her crazy. They love to sing. It's something a lot of people grow up not even having aspirations to be famous, but they just love to sing or to exercise that gift or that talent. So let's look at Golden Lady, Stevie. It's a sun goddess reference, without a doubt. Okay, no disrespect to no disrespect to my sister. Okay, but without a doubt, it's a sun goddess reference. And Ramsey Lewis and Earth, Wind, and Fire even have a song called Sun Goddess. Day-o, da, day-o. Everybody know that song. E40 made one called Yayo. It's crazy. But Golden Lady, Stevie says, to see the heaven in your eyes is not too far. Again, first song we looked at by him, he said, make me feel like paradise. This one he said, to see the heaven in your the heaven in your eyes. We know Stevie did his own producing and writing most all the time. So how does he see heaven in anybody's eyes if he can't see? Have mercy. He's using his mind's eye, his imagination. That's cold. No, hold on before you leave. Don't go away mad, just go away. No. In that business, and you know, I'm from Detroit, so you know, when we talk about Detroit people, Motown people, You know, if I ever want to visit my mama again, I got to be cautious what I say. But no, like she watch. But you know, I've heard a lot of things over the years, and one of the things that stuck to my ears, you know, was that more things are really just an act in the music business. It's entertainment than what you're led to believe. That's right. And Berry Gordy was a master showman. Berry Gordy was bad as P.T. Barnum. He sought a lot of different ways to try to capitalize on different gimmicks. Okay, that's even exhibited in Divided Soul. In that book, I believe that very comparison is made of Berry Gordy to P.T. Barnum. He was on top of that, and there was already a successful little boy, okay, named Michael, and there was already a successful blind singer, very successful. Is it a stretch to think that if a person was approaching the music mind control program with a P.T. Barnum pimp type of mindset, is it a stretch to think, as I've heard before, not that Stevie not blind at all. Some say he's not blind no more, and others say it's just that he's not as blind. You know, there's degrees to blindness, and he's nowhere near as blind as we believe. So that's just what I've heard. But I digress. So he's closing his eyes and seeing this demon spirit in woman form. Remember, Solomon asked the demon, you know, Solomon, he was too much. He wanted to see a lady demon. He wanted to see too many ladies. But the lady demon, quote unquote, or demon in a woman form, is known as the succubus. And this succubus was something that not only is Stevie describing as a golden lady. Again, these spirits, these jinn, they disguise themselves in a luminescent skin as beings of light. So Stevie's describing it. Marvin described it all throughout the book Divided Soul. He talked about he had these dreams often before he got inspired to write. He said it dancing and spinning around. That's in Dance With Me, which I believe he had this dream and then he wrote that, if I recall correctly in the book. But he would dream about this misty lady who seemed like an apparition, but would be in his dream dancing and spinning around. Alright? Keep that in mind. Now, because it's about to connect for you. Stevie says, "It's clear to me you made my dream come true. There's no way that I'll be losing." And again, here's the take you up imagery. He said, "I'd like to go there. I'd like to go there. Golden lady, golden lady. I'd like to go there." Go where? See, again, he's asking the spirit for help to take him right away. Take me right away to take him up. Further proof, here we go. Not just knee deep in a trance. Yeah. It's repeated like they're in a trance state and gonna put you in one with a 15-minute long song. I know. You can't dance the whole song. You got to sit down for a minute and go back out there at the end when Felipe Wynn come in. Something about the music. She always makes me dance. Something about the music. It got into my pants. The music did. It turned you on and out and all about. Again, this trance state and this succubus is mentioned here. The freak of the week. When she danced, she set the world on fire. Oh, y'all not ready for me. Succubus is the freak of the week by both definitions. You know, in some cultures you'll say freak, and it means somebody is going crazy with extreme anxiety. And in another one, it means somebody getting their sexy on, extra wild with it. Well, one came from the other. A freak also is something strange. A freak of nature. That's the original connotation. A freak of nature. Just say that. So, something strange or anomalous in nature. So freak means something different today. But it meant strange. She's strange. And they like it. Super freak. Extremely strange. So the freak of the week is a succubus. There's a cartoon character called the Freak, and he looks like some kind of little monster demon dude. Alright, he looks really weird. Okay, the freak of the week, W-E-A-K, because that's a succubus, is going to make you weak, and it is attracted to people who are weak, to the lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, pride of life. Okay, so we talked about Marvin dreamt of a spirit woman often and believed he found her in who would cause his divorce and later become his second wife. He was married to Anna Gordy, Barry's sister. Barry was so cold with it, he sick his sisters on different artists. And Marvin was young, and Anna was much older and more of a woman of the world. And she helped catapult Marvin's career because her brother was the boss and Marvin was her man. Marvin got up in his early 30s. He was at the studio. They was working on his new album, which was going to be I Want You. And a little 16-year-old girl was brought in the studio by somebody. It's unclear who. They say he would often have all kind of people in there kicking it, pimps, preachers, hustlers, and everything. Athletes. He was tight with Mel Farr, the superstar, former Detroit Lion, who helped get Marvin a spot to try out for the Detroit Lions. And Mel Farr is also featured because he could sing a little taste on the What's Going On album. But somebody brought this 16-year-old girl in the studio environment with all of these grown folks and all this grown stuff going on. And Marvin took a liking to her. Who knows how that really went down. And I Want You is the album he made after he was inspired by her. She was a wild freak woman. He made the song Soon I'll Be Loving You Again in response to her requests from him to engage in oral sex upon her, which according to the autobiography, Marvin said that at that time that was not something that people from his generation was into. Of course, you have the free love, the Crowley and do as thou wilt energy in the air at this time, especially in the studio, but in Marvin's mind and at this time in society in general. And so he wrote a song about it called Soon I'll Be Loving You Again, also on the I Want You album. He talked about her promiscuity on the song All the Way Around. He says, oh darling, something like that, although you're promiscuous, I don't mind a bit because you're still the greatest lay in bed. And of course, Marvin was tormented later by the very same things that he liked about her. Duality. At the end of I Want to Be Where You Are, he screams out her name. Oh, Janice. Her name was Janice. Can't make this stuff up. Project Janice, duality. The spirit woman who would dance and spin around, he thought he had found. He thought he finally had found this elusive woman that he saw in his dreams dancing and spinning around in this 16-year-old girl who he later divorced Anna for, married, and had children with, producing Nona Gay, who I believe got given away. She first came on the scene, she was with Prince. Yeah, Prince brought her out first time I ever saw her. And she looked about the same today as she did back then. We know that demons are into riding down the line of your kin, familial demons, ancestral spirits. Same thing that plagued your grandfather. It's supposed to plague your father, and then it's supposed to plague you, according to the assignment of the demon crew that's assigned to you. Let's continue. By a whorish woman, a man will be reduced to a morsel of bread. There are Proverbs 7 women all throughout the business. And through Marvin's entanglements because of Janice, both the program and the woman, they took him down through there. All right. One more. Then we out. This Is It. You got to hear This Is It by Kenny Loggins, featuring master witch linguist genius Michael McDonald. Ghost voice. He's singing eerily in Kenny Loggins' ear, convincing him, man, you've made it. You're finally here. Don't turn back now, because you got to give yourself over to Lucifer. That's what This Is It is all about. It's a very philosophical song. If you listen to the lyrics from beginning to end, he talks about there are times in your life, where you come to a certain point in life and you realize, wow, I can go ahead and make all my dreams come true, or I can turn back now. Eminem in Lose Yourself mirrors this philosophical point of view. So does Teddy Pendergrass in Love TKO. Listen to Love TKO. Listen to the lyrics for a change. When it come on, it come on and you lose all thought and sense of time and have a change of mind. You don't know what's going on when Love TKO come on. But listen to the lyrics. Notice the similarities between those three examples. This Is It, Love TKO, and Lose Yourself by Eminem. It's all about how an artist feels when they get to that level and they realize, wow, this is what this game really is about. Am I going to roll with it? Am I going to keep my same beliefs, or am I going to leave them behind? And then you got Michael McDonald singing in your ear, trying to influence your mind. You think that maybe it's over. He said, not if you don't, only if you want it to be. He says, who makes the choice of how it goes? He said, no one can tell what the future holds, which is a lie. What does a prophet do? So, while Kenny Loggins is singing his part as the entertainer who's passionately, there are times in your life, he's passionately singing about how you feel when you're trying to make it. He says, it's here, the moment is now, about to decide. He said, let them believe, but leave him behind. Leave who behind? He's telling you to leave the Lord behind. keep me here in your heart. So this is the Spirit singing this part. He says, Lord, what more can I say? What's left to provide? You ain't feeling me. Listen to the song. This is it. It's about the business. Okay? Make no mistake where you are. You're going no further. This is it. That song. Okay, now, last thing. An assignment for you. Help me find out what is the songwriter's secret to Yamo be there. Help me do that. James Ingram and Michael McDonald. Yamo be there. If you're a bad motor scooter, help me out. And last, if you're a real bad motor scooter, I'm going to give you extra credit. If you can listen to What a Fool Believes, okay, Golden Lady did it, and she passed with flying colors. Nailed it. First time, first guess. What a Fool Believes, I'll give you this one hint, which is by the Doobie Brothers, led by Michael McDonald. Okay. What a Fool Believes is about the most famous relationship in history, and I don't mean Romeo and Juliet. And it's rare in that it is a love song, not singing about the man that's singing about the woman he loves. But the man that's singing is singing in third person. He's singing about another relationship. What happened in that relationship? And it's from the Luciferian perspective of it shouldn't have happened that way. Okay? Okay? And that's what I'm going to give you for What a Fool Believes. Okay? And this false light being right, these spirits of the night being able to take you to the highest height, that is indeed what a fool believes. But check out the song, and Yamo be there, and tell me what you get. And I appreciate you for giving me a second chance to do this. I bounced back, more bounce to the ounce. I got a lot of ounces, so we came back and did it over. I hate to do do-overs, but sometimes that's life. So I thank you again for joining me. We're gonna do a little Adam and Eve this eve. Peace.